Hi, I'm Becca Otis from Five Lines Pottery in Indianapolis, Indiana.
And I'm Ryan Durbin from RD Ceramics, located in Southgate, Kentucky.
And welcome to Wheel Talk.
Hey guys, we've loved answering all of your questions so far. If you'd like to hear your question on the podcast, please send them to us on Instagram at Wheel Talk Podcast or by email to wheeltalkpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks. Ignition started.
I found a new show on Netflix. It's not new. It's not new. It's just I found a show on Netflix. It's called History 101.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a little biased towards the Earth, which I'm okay with, but like you can, they're like clearly biased.
Right.
Which,
Did you?
Yeah.
So the things I always thought is funny is they always do the numbers in relation to like, you could stack this to the moon and back 6 times, which is the height of the Empire State Building if you stacked every floppy disk up on top of each other or whatever.
Yeah, I just watched that episode, or I'm in the middle of that one. It's the one about vinyls. They're like, if you stacked vinyls, if the amount of recordings that are uploaded to Spotify every day, the amount of singles, if they were stacked up on top of each other as a vinyl, they would stack up the length of the Statue of Liberty 65 times.
Yeah. They're always stacking buildings up or like doing long distances to give you perspective, but it's like, how ridiculous is the next one going to be?
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Yeah. So, but it's been a fun little distraction from Star Trek for a hot second.
Well, remind me, are Star Trek 30-minute episodes or 45-minute episodes?
No, they're like 45.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We watched the History 101 with dinners. So when we would cook dinner, we would usually watch a episode of something. So we were watching... Tonight we watched Curb Your Enthusiasm, but usually we'd find a 20-minute show or something that we hadn't watched.
I realized when we were watching Curb Your Enthusiasm, I appreciate Curb Your Enthusiasm, but when we were watching it, I was watching it with you last week. I just can't. They're so mean. Like, he's just such a fucking asshole, and I just can't. Like, it's just like, I don't know.
Is it like overly, or is it just the things he cares to bring up that is like, in normal conversation, you would not bring this up because it comes off like you're an asshole?
Well, no, I don't normally say this. Like, this is not something that has come out of my mouth very often, but it is very apparent that what's his name?
Larry David.
Larry David is a white male that has like gotten things handed to him his whole life, and like typically I'm like, it's fine. Like people like have like lots of things go on in their lives, and there's a lot of things that they're not privileged to, but he is not one of those people.
And he's picking fun at and pulling like caring about things that really nobody should care about.
Yeah, like it's just like, why like nobody on the planet like cares about.
I think that's part of the absurdity of the show.
I agree. It's just not my type of humor, I think. I think that I'm just not good at like the whole poking fun at the minority or the underdog, like picking at the underdog. I think that's just not my type of humor, and I realized that today. That's also why I kind of don't like Seinfeld. And it's not even anybody but like George in Seinfeld. Because, like, obviously Kramer's great. Eileen's a little bitchy.
Elaine?
Whatever her name is. And...
Come on, Eileen.
Come on, Eileen. I had a professor in college named Eileen. Eileen Fears. She was fucking terrible. Anyway, how are you?
Did you shed tears for Fears?
Yeah.
I'm doing well. I was a little... I thought I was sick earlier today. I had a little headache for a few hours, so. But I was took a nap, was resting, got some lunch in me, so I was good after that. I took a COVID test, negative, so I'm all good.
Is Rachel feeling okay?
Oh yeah, she's good.
Okay, good. I would have felt so bad if I had gotten her sick.
I just had a little headache. I think I was just I did the show yesterday, and then I took a little bit to relax, and then I worked in the studio after that and threw some pots, and I didn't even get to bed till like 1:30 or 2. So
yeah, maybe that was a mistake. That might have been a mistake.
So maybe.
Yeah. Maybe.
And then so it was good. I just relaxed for like 3 or 4 hours, and it was fun. But yeah, I'm good. I did my restock today, and
good.
I was packing up some pots. I got quite a few orders.
Oh, nice.
So between I've been doing the Etsy cyber sale thing that they were promoting me to do so they could bring attention to it. So I've been packing up a lot of orders of shot glasses and small things like that. And I think I've got I'll probably end up with about 15 packages to take to the post office tomorrow.
Sweet. Love it.
And I took about 15 to the post office on Saturday. So it was
nice.
Pretty nice.
Nice.
So yeah, that's what's happening. Getting a little studio time in, but not too much.
So tell us how much you made.
We did a show together last weekend too that we didn't mention.
Oh yeah, we should probably do that. This is just confirming
this will be
my
a
rant
quick
that's coming.
a quick about last week, and then we'll go into this weekend too.
Yeah, this is just affirming my rant that is going to happen in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Becca and I did 2 shows back-to-back weeks.
Yes.
They're 2 shows that I've done before. She's never done them.
Right. And like West Side, you've done a lot.
Yeah, I've been doing West Side for about 4 years.
Right. Makes sense. And the one
off market, I've only done maybe 4 or 5 times before.
That was last week.
But I've done it a few times.
Yeah. And let's just set up the stage for you for everybody for last week. Last week it was 32 degrees. 35 was the high. 28 or 26 was the low.
The sun was peeking out, but it felt 32.
It was chilly, and 50% humidity. I looked, and the wind was 14 miles an hour consistent, with gusts up to 32 miles an hour.
What does the humidity matter in the cold? Does the humidity matter that much?
Oh, so much.
It does? So 32, 50% humidity
is cold. Just think of it this way: if there's water,
what is it in Colorado
air,
if it's like 32? What's the humidity there?
10.
Okay.
10%, maybe 0. Like.
But what does that mean in the cold?
So when there's think of it this way: when there's humidity, there's water in the air, and when there's water in the air and it's 32 degrees, that water gets colder, and so the air is colder. So it feels colder than it actually is. When there's this is Becca's science.
I was feeling like the wind. I get the wind part, but I don't get the humidity in the cold part.
This is not like pure science. This is Becca's science. So
I figured you could relate to Colorado because
and in Colorado, when there's no humidity in the air, it's just cold. Like nothing's like hitting your cheeks and being like, "Hey, I hate you." Like, when I was in high school, we used to go out in 10-degree weather in jeans and a sweatshirt. And if I did that here when it was like 50 degrees, 50% humidity, I'd die. I would.
Okay.
And of course, keeping in mind that I've grown and become weak, but still.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
very chilly.
Very chilly.
Windy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very chilly. So what did you do last week?
Last week I collected a little over 1,000.
Okay, that was the 19th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and last week I collected $494.
No comment. But you did find out something.
Wait. I collected $494, but also 60 of that was spoon rest that somebody ordered online. So, so I think I collected basically right around $400. What did I find out? That
you found out about selling certain products in the cold.
Oh, I found a very important lesson is Becca cannot sell products in the cold. Because everybody has to touch my stuff, and if it's cold, they don't want to pick it up. And if they don't pick it up, I don't sell it. So
your fancy cups pots are really soft, but people don't want to pick them up when the pots are cold and their hands are cold. And
the thumb cups, the thumbs fit really nicely, but not with gloves on.
and earrings. Do people want to stand around and peruse earrings while it's frigid outside?
So we found that out totally fine. It's good to find that out now, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I had some repeat buyers there, though. I don't see how you can. I don't see the repeat buyer section of the reports, but yeah, it was.
Had a repeat buyer section.
It was a good mixture of stuff. It wasn't anything that blew out of the water.
Right.
7 mugs, 7 spoon rests were the most of anything I sold.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to yesterday.
Okay, yesterday. Much better weather.
Much better weather. 50 degrees, sunny, beautiful. So many people were out.
Light. It was like light jacket weather.
Light jacket weather. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, people could actually walk around and not have to cover up so much. Okay, yesterday collected $2,900.
Holy shit. Yesterday I collected 685.
685.
Plus 60 on Venmo. So probably 7 something.
Does that include your cash sales? I feel, because you were saying stuff about cash sales before.
Oh my god, I don't think I had any cash sales yesterday.
Yeah, mine was mostly all card.
Yeah. And let's set the stage, right? Ryan was up in the center of the area, I guess. I was down. We were both in extremely good spots.
I was in a prime spot.
He was in a prime spot. I was in a good spot. Like at one point, the street in front of me was completely packed.
Mm-hmm. You're right by the food mostly, so.
Yeah. So like, it was not a bad spot. I just did so fucking bad, and I don't know.
You had a corner too.
I had a corner too.
We both had corners, yeah.
It was not my fault. I can say that because like I had the exact same setup as Bloomington, and I made $4,000 at Bloomington, like.
And there wasn't a shortage of people there.
And there wasn't a shortage of people. I don't know what the fuck is wrong.
Were there people coming up? Do you think it was the customer base? Like you need a more artsier customer base, or?
It might have been. I feel like a lot of middle-aged women were coming up, mm-hmm. as opposed to like when at Bloomington, I probably sold to like 30 to 40, and a lot of middle-aged women were coming up probably like 40 to 60. Mm-hmm. So
I felt like there weren't that many 40 to 60 like older women there, like older.
Yeah.
It was more like middle-aged families and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I like, and there were some people, like one lady came back 4 times and she just like kept looking at my stuff. I'm like, just fucking buy something. And she never did. And it's not like the lack of interest. I do feel like there wasn't a lot of people walking up to my booth. I'm like, maybe I could have like put it straighter, I guess. I had it angled, mm-hmm. but I don't think it was that either. I don't know. Like nobody, and like usually at a show like that, I would expect to sell a lot of thumb cups, you know?
Yeah.
And I sold like 6.
Was that the lady that tagged you?
One of them tagged me, but she didn't actually buy one yesterday. I sold 9 thumb cups, but I sold 6 medium earrings. So like.
Yeah, I was thinking the earrings would go. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you were right. Like, you were like, oh, the earrings will probably be better at this show. And you were right. And I just don't know. Like, I felt so...
The thing I'm wondering about your earrings, though, there are other... Did you walk around the other vendors?
A few.
There are other, like, cheaper earrings options.
There were.
Where it's either... I don't know that they buy them and sell them, or if they make them and they're, like, cheap made. So like a $20 earring compared to your $35 earring.
Yeah, and there was like an earring lady across the way from me like a jewelry lady across the way from me, and she had like a line out of her little
Her stuff's
vehicle
really
thing.
cheap, probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like you're competing with your price is different, but you kind of have to explain why, I guess. But I don't know. Do you think it would be better the more you would do that, or would you just not do it again? I feel like that's one you have to. A lot of the same people come back to those shows every month.
Yeah, because
I imagine
that you've like increased. Obviously you've increased in sales every year that you've done it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like obviously I want you to have like an amazing show. I'm not mad at you. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like Ryan made $2,700.
It's not a fair comparison, though.
I know, but I don't fucking care. And
but
I was like,
it wouldn't incentivize you to like make certain things that would be more enticing for that kind of a crowd for holiday shopping.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, I did think about it. I was like, maybe I should make oil bottles. And I was like, Becca, shut the fuck up. Like, you're not making oil bottles.
Yeah, I was telling her they were selling really well.
Yeah. When you sent me that text, he sent me a text and he was like, I should have brought 20 more oil bottles. I was like, God damn it. Ryan's fucking killing it.
I sold 31 oil bottles.
That's insane. I think we need to up the price of the oil bottles. 9 of those were carved. That's great.
10 soup bowls, 28 spoon rests.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, I had a lot of B-backs that never came back, of course. And
B-backs. Oh, you didn't do the stone thing, right?
No. Yeah, and I was just like super bummed. However, I will say that my neighbor was wonderful. And we talked the whole time, like a lot of the time, you know, that nobody was coming around. And she made like sweets and lollipops and chocolate, hot chocolate bombs, which I just had one, and wow. And and we kind of talked about it, and she was like, man, my great day is like 400. And she goes, if I sold $600 worth of stuff, I would freaking cry. Because she had like, you know, $1 suckers and stuff like that. And I was like, that's a good point. Like, she definitely put it in perspective. And I was like, Becca, you're being really ungrateful.
For not doing the show before, you had no expectation of what to do.
True.
I mean, did I put that expectation on you of what you were going to sell? I don't know that I told you what I thought you would sell, but...
No, I would have been happy with like 1,000.
Okay.
I was like, I just was short of the goal that I want to make 1,000 when I go to a show, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if I spent $100 in the booth, which I think I did.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, the show lady, the lady organizer was really, really nice. She came
Crystal?
up and asked. Yeah, she came up and asked how I did. And I was like, well, you know.
She's great.
I was like, Ryan's killing it over there. I'm not doing the best, but it's okay. And, you know.
Oh, you told her you knew me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a customer of mine. I think that's part of the reason why I get such a great spot, too, because, like,
yeah,
we're buddy.
Well, and she was like, I always try to give the Potters a corner spot. And I was like, that's nice of you.
Yeah.
and she was like, yeah, this is such a great spot. And I'm like, I know. I don't know what is going on. And, because, like, by the end of the show, I was kind of just, like, twiddling my thumbs.
Yeah, I wonder how the street does. The people that are facing the street. The outer street.
Yeah,
the main street.
That's a good question, yeah.
Because there's another Potter over there, Potter woodworker.
Yeah.
That was over there, and I wonder how he did.
Yeah.
Because there's nobody facing across from him. It's just a sidewalk. But, I mean, so many pedestrians are coming through, and that's how they're getting to the show.
Right, I know.
But I don't know.
I really don't think that any spot was bad, like, at that show. Like,
yeah.
Really.
They spaced it out really well, and I wonder how the inside was. I feel like, if anything, the inside would have been bad.
Inside would have been bad. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, there's Santa, photographer, people in there, so maybe, and there's bathrooms in there.
Yeah.
So maybe that draws people in, but...
I almost totally ate it walking up the stairs in the inside because the stairs are really tall.
Yeah.
And I was like, this sucks. But, and then I was like all bummed out. And then we pack up all of our shit and I have to get my van into this stupid fucking street. I'm sure you had the same issue, like parallel parking in front of the booths.
Mine was fine.
Oh, that's good.
Because I always take forever to pack up compared to everybody else around that has like a table and
so
they're out of there in 20 minutes.
2 booths over from me was this like horde of old ladies, and they were selling for a good cause. But one of the ladies' husbands was a fucking like he had a fine parking spot. It was across the way, and they were like walking things to and for it. And then when I went to get my van, he pulled his fucking truck into my spot, like into where my booth was, like literally 2 feet away from my tent.
Mm-hmm. Where all your shit is packed up and ready to go.
Right, and it's like all closed. And now I'm like, well, now I can't even get to my spot. And so I'm like cussing this guy out under my breath and like walking all my shit to the car. And then, and I was just like so mad. And then I drove home and I called Andrew and bitched to him. And it's fine. Like I said, it's fine. I just need to be complaining. And then I went to, I got 4 free of these hot chocolate bombs from my neighbor. I also gave her a mug that chipped. Yeah. And,
is that because they go bad and stuff? It
was her last show of the season, and she was like, I don't know what the fuck to do with these. So, and also her daughter had Down syndrome, and her name is Dorothy, and she was really sweet. And at the beginning of the show, I was like, Dorothy, do you want a little fidget stone? So I gave her a little fidget stone so she could play with it during the show. And so we kind of like, yeah. Anyway, so I got 4 chocolate bombs for free, which was like, I was so stoked because I love hot chocolate. And then I'm driving home and I was like, I'm going to go to fucking Texas Roadhouse and eat my feelings. God, and so I love Texas Roadhouse. I fucking love Texas Roadhouse.
The butter?
And
do you get the butter with the rolls?
Like, what? What kind of a question is that? Do I get the butter with the rolls?
Do they still have the peanuts there?
No, they don't do the peanuts anymore. They do have like packages of peanuts at the bar, but that's like
peanuts kind of overrated anyway.
So stupid. I wonder if that's because of COVID. I know I shouldn't love Texas Roadhouse as much as I do, but it was like when I was growing up, that was like the fancy dinner for us. Like, you know, like
the rolls in the honey butter or the cinnamon butter.
Cinnamon butter.
Oh my
wow,
gosh. Can't beat that.
And my traditional, like I've always ever gotten a salad. I always get a salad, and then I get the steak, and then I get some potato. And the steak, I only eat half of it, and then I take it home and cut it up and then put it in the roll with the cinnamon butter and the steak, and it's the best fucking sandwich on the planet. I don't know why the cinnamon works, but it does. And so that's like my routine, right? Okay. So I get there, I order a double Jack and Coke, and then this lady next to me is having like an issue, right? Like she had just rejected
Are you eating at the bar?
Yeah, I'm eating at the bar.
Okay.
So she was like 2 seats over from me. So she had just rejected a steak before I'd gotten there, and then when I got there, I think she spilled her drink or something. So like the bartender like wiped out the whole table. She seemed very high maintenance. And then 10 minutes in, she gets another steak, and I hear the bartender say, "This one looks really good." And she cuts the end of it. She like cuts the end of it. And she's like, "This isn't going to work." And I was like, "What the fuck?" and she looks over at me, and I'm just like trying not to like look like I'm listening to literally everything that they're saying. And at some point, and she was not like quiet by any means. She was like, it has to have some pink in it or else I can't digest it. And I swear to God, my eyes like rolled back in my head. I was like, I've never heard of that. Never in my life have I heard of somebody not being able to digest steak.
You said that to yourself, right?
Yeah. If it doesn't have pink, if it's like well done. Like it has to have no.
That sounds just like a health reason to say I'm picky as shit.
That's like, and she's like, I have digestive issues. Like, well, she didn't say it like that. But she was like, I have digestive issues, and I can't eat this steak. So anyway, she like pushes it to the side, and she also got just like plain vegetables, like gross, and with it as the side. And after a minute, I was like, so if you're not gonna eat that, can I have it?
I wondered how you got the steak.
Oh yeah, I was like, you shouldn't throw it away. I'll take it if you're gonna throw it away. I will take it because I'll.
You said that to the bartender, or you said that to her?
And her. I was like, hey, if you're not gonna eat it, I'll take it for tomorrow. She's like, yeah, take it. It's fine. So anyway, they order another
I'm not
steak.
paying for it. Take it.
Right, exactly. And the bartender was like, if you don't tell anybody, I won't. I was like, great. So we package it up, and then he takes the other plate away. And then I got my stuff, and then a third steak comes out for this lady. It is... I could tell that this one was cooked to the fucking gills. It was... That motherfucker was well done.
That thing was not moving anymore.
No moves. And I was like, no. And like when I got my steak out, the bartender was like, could you please check yours to make sure it's rare? And I'm like, yeah, it looks fine. I got a medium rare. I like it a little more rare, but if I say rare, then it comes out cold. So, so, you know, I was like, yeah, this is fine. And I took it home. Anyway, she didn't like that steak either. So the manager came out, and then she ended up getting a salad with chicken.
Oh my gosh.
To go.
Did you get out of there before she even left too?
I did. And
Wow.
this morning I opened up the steak and I cut it open. It was a perfectly medium steak. It was beautiful as far as a medium steak goes. It had pink in the center. It was brown on the outside. It was magnanimous as a steak goes. Like, they cooked it perfectly. But because this motherfucking idiot only cut the very edge of the steak.
Would the bartender not say something about...
No, because
what if
clearly
you-
he's
what
not
if you
very
cut it in
smart
the middle?
either. So, because she only cut the edge of the steak, she thought it was well done when it was like literally perfection. So I got a perfect steak, according to her.
And you had... Did you only eat half of your steak that you had too?
No, because I was like, ooh, I can have the whole thing, so I ate the whole thing.
Okay.
And then I asked for 4 rolls so I could have
I
sandwiches
saw the
tonight.
rolls, yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. So anyway, that was my steak story. You can't fix stupid, but you can benefit from it. And I think that that's what's to be learned here.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Wow.
So-
Wow.
After all that, I felt very okay about the show. I was like,
4... I was going to say bath bombs, but 4 hot chocolate bombs, free
and
steak,
a free steak.
and you got some rolls and butter.
Yeah. I did have to pay for more gas today, though. Next year, I'm definitely, thank God, next year I'm going to be living in my van, because if I have to do 5 shows in Cincinnati, I'm using your kiln. Like, fuck this. Like, going back and forth, I am, like, burning through gas.
Well, definitely do that.
Obviously. But, yeah.
Jeez. Okay. And then we skipped over Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving was good. We had Thanksgiving together.
Mm-hmm.
You came, cooked. It was delicious.
It was
Don't know
very
if that's
good.
going to be a tradition, but I agree that it should be a tradition because it was all really good.
Yeah, Rachel at the end was like, I think we should start a new tradition that Becca makes Thanksgiving.
I think Deech said that, but
Oh, is it Deej? I don't know who it was, but somebody said it, and I was like, I'm down.
yeah, it was very good.
I had the leftovers on like the day after, and I swear to God, I ate them in 30 seconds because they were so goddamn good. And then I was like, I can't. There has to be more of this. And so I literally went to Aldi today and got all the ingredients to make green bean casserole, mashed potatoes, and stuffing. And then pulled out that chicken that your dad gave me like forever and ever ago.
Oh, he gave you the frozen chicken, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you got to cook that. Oh, you gonna air fry that?
I don't know. I've never done it in an air
Didn't
fryer.
you air? Oh no, you did the chicken thighs in the air fryer.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so good.
I think I might just slow roast it in the oven.
That'd probably be good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a whole chicken.
Yeah, it's a whole chicken. But it's a small chicken. So I'll have to look it up. It's thawing in my sink right now.
Nice.
But,
Okay.
yeah.
Gonna have some interesting meals before the year's over, I'm sure. Clearing out the
Yeah.
freezer and fridge.
I'm pretty empty. I mean, it's yeah.
I mean, you had some meals last week or 2 weeks ago that you were throwing some shit together.
Yeah. Yeah, I had like Mexican goulash. That was good. Like Mexican casserole goulash kind of thing. Yeah, I've got some pork in there that I need to eat up. But I don't know. I'm very, like, stressed right now because it's, like, almost December. And I'm going to be gone for half of December, so I really need to start, like, getting into gear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to figure out your schedule, and it's going to be interesting.
Well, thankfully, after this weekend, I don't have any more shows other than at my own studio. So, and I have to take all my stuff in for that. So at least I can move all of my pots into the studio for, a hot second so that I can get all of these tables into the van and kind of like situate everything.
Yeah.
And kind of like start moving things into the van. I do kind of need to go to Colorado because I have to drop shit off. Fuck. Okay. Anyway.
All right. I have a fun listener question.
Woo!
We're at 30 minutes in. Oh, by the way, I started putting those thumbnails in so people can jump to the marker if they want to. So
Oh, good.
I think the last 3 episodes I put that in there. So if you're listening to this, look out for that if you don't want to hear our bullshit at the beginning,
Yeah.
But I feel like most of you like the bullshit.
Yeah.
So.
I think so.
Happy bullshit.
We like to think so, at least. And if you don't like it, we're still going to do it, so it doesn't matter.
First question comes from Glazed Fused Creations.
Yes.
We know her.
Deanna.
Go-to takeout, pizza or Chinese? And we said this Chinese could include Thai, maybe?
Well, I think that
Is
because
it Asian takeout?
Yeah, I think because it's coming from Deanna, who I know loves Thai food, we're going to sub Chinese with Thai.
Okay.
So it's Chinese / Thai.
Okay, go-to takeout, pizza or Chinese / Thai?
Yeah. What say you?
I gotta go with pizza. I feel like I can do pizza anytime. Thai, I gotta be a little bit more in the mood for that. Yeah. So, that's my answer. You?
That's so hard.
I feel like you don't eat pizza. I feel like I don't see you like get takeout pizza much. Do you actually get pizza that often?
I get pizza like once a week.
Oh, really? Where do you get it from?
I mean, I used to, not anymore because I'm trying to eat out the fridge. But I usually get it from Greek's Pizzeria, which is in Indianapolis, and it's real good.
Okay.
But I used to get it every Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah. So like in my mind, I say Thai, but in reality, it's pizza. Like. Mm-hmm. I know there's Thai places around here, but I'm not going to go to them. I would much rather just take out pizza. I just love me a good garlic butter. I don't know what to say.
See, I don't really like the garlic butter. I feel like it's too
That's
much.
Because you're a heathen.
Heathen. Okay, I'll take that.
But regardless, we didn't even need to change it to Chinese because we both chose pizza.
Well, just because I literally never get Chinese takeout. That's why I was like, there's no question here. If you put Thai, it's at least kind of close.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know any Chinese places out here.
What if it was pizza or Chipotle?
Chipotle, 100%.
Okay.
150%.
Yeah, maybe Thai
Chipotle.
wasn't a good alternative or comparable.
Well, and it also depends on your location. Like, if you asked me that question in Monroe, I probably would have said Thai because the Thai place there is delicious. And I also got pizza for free. So, like, I had it all the time. Mm-hmm. So, it was more exciting to get Thai.
To free pizza.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, we just get, greasy pizza from Marco's.
I've heard that's really good.
It's really good. We get it all the time. So...
fucking love pizza.
If you're in town in the future, we'll get some Marco's and usually get cheesy bread and
hell yeah.
And I know the discount codes, so I end up getting an extra large pizza and then cheesy bread, and the extra large pizza is $12 or $10.
Hell yeah.
It's so cheap. I think it's $10 maybe. Yeah, this is not like a brick oven pizza. This is just whatever they're cooking.
It should also be said that no matter, it doesn't matter. Brick and mortar pizza, I will always love Pizza Hut stuffed crust pizza more than anything in the whole entire world.
Really?
I love stuffed crust pizza.
Pizza Hut, Papa John's, Domino's. What are you going? You're going Pizza Hut?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm more like Domino's, I think.
Domino's sucks.
I like the thin crust.
I don't know. There's like they're like two different topics too. It's like it's like comparing Taco Bell to Taco Truck, you know? Like when you're talking about like a chain pizza versus like a homemade pizza restaurant too, I feel like. Because like, okay, Taco Bell, Taco John's, Del Taco, you know, which one do you choose versus...
We don't have anything but Taco Bell here, so...
Pizza Truck.
Del Taco and Taco John's is not a thing here.
Well, everybody else knows what I'm talking about, so... Anyway. I also got 2 free taco tickets from Taco Bell this week because they were slow. So that was good.
Nice.
Okay.
All right, so we have some other questions that will be related to a lot of like community studio kind of stuff. So do you want to read the first one? And that's going to be kind of our topic. It's going to be a lot of different questions that are related to community studios.
Okay, would you rather be in a community studio with great management and bad vibes, or great vibes and bad management? So let's create some parameters here.
Yeah,
bad
what is considered management?
Like bad management, I would say, from judging from not this question, but just in general, I would say like constantly.
This is anonymous, by the way, so we don't know what community studio they're a part of or what.
Right. I would say constantly like blowing up pots, not consistently firing, not clean.
What about their hours, maybe? Like the studio hours are kind of weird, or
yeah. So that's what I would probably say is bad management, right?
Okay.
Would you agree? Glaze is always running.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say they have more effect on the structure of classes and maybe bad management. Maybe like overpaying for stuff. Mm-hmm. Like you're not getting your value because the management is not the best, or the results you're getting are not. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or
great vibes and bad man. So, and then what would you consider the vibes? Is the vibes only your relationship with the instructors, your other peers in the class and stuff like that?
I think relationship with everybody. Yeah. Like instructors and peers. I know my answer. Do you know your answer?
I've just not been in the community studio. No, I've been in one community studio, 2 community studios. What's your answer? And we'll see.
My answer is great vibes, bad management. For me, personally. And the reason is because because management can be like a bed of hot shit. Like it could be total chaos. And if they're like fun and awesome and like just trying... like, you know, and if like you enjoy going, it like makes up for it.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, I agree. I think that like
I would say that community studios are a stepping stone into having your own studio. And if you have a bad experience at a community studio, like bad vibes, like where you don't want to go, then that's gonna really affect the way that you do your stuff in the future. You know?
Yeah. I agree. I was on that half of the answer when I was leaning between the two. And then as you just said that, I was thinking, what is the benefit of great management? Like, what are you going to get out of great management? You're getting a good value for what you're paying for, and you get great results.
Yeah.
But like, is that going to want to keep you doing it more? Or, you know, what if they offered more like training and stuff like that, or you knew more things because they offered classes about kilns and things that would help you in your own studio?
Right, that would be good management, but you can find that all in the YouTubes.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't been in community studio settings enough. I feel like if there's bad vibes, hopefully you could isolate a little bit so you can get away
Right.
from that and choose when you go and don't go.
Yeah, it definitely depends on the person you are too, because like some people just go to the studio to put the headphones in and work. Like I'm not one of those people. I'm one of the type of people that go to the studio and be in this environment to be like
To
have a
hang
fun
out
environment.
and then get some stuff done while you're there.
Yeah, and
It's
like
not...
have a community and do all the things. Like I can do work at home, like especially when you're in a community studio, a lot of people have wheels at home, still. And they just like bring stuff in. And so like that community is really, really important, I think. But also I would say that in most general cases, if you have good management, the vibes are great,
Mm-hmm.
Like typically
it kind of trickles down from...
Yeah,
if
typically
the
it
management's
trickles
good
down.
and people are good to work with, then...
Yeah, but if I had to choose a lesser, that would be it. So
Yeah, the only other folks around me that I've seen leave studios or have reasons that they've shifted studios seems to be more of a vibe thing
Yeah.
than a management thing.
Yeah.
It's like, and maybe they worked there, so it wasn't necessarily I was a student there and I didn't like the management. It was more like I worked there and I didn't like the vibes of the people around me.
Yeah.
But also there could be vibes of other studios where it's like you don't feel like you can approach people because they're too like cliquey, or they're not very, maybe they don't come across as open to questions and things like that.
Yeah.
They feel like they've already got their established group and newcomers don't put out great vibes to allow you to come in. So
Definitely.
good question. I like that question when it came
That was
across.
a good question. That's a very
Anonymously.
thought-provoking question because you don't really think about that,
Mm-hmm.
until
But
you either have one of the bads,
Yeah, I'm sure you're in it and then you're thinking, and then you might not have any other options, right?
Right. Like if I had to have a community studio and I was running a business, I would probably I was counting on them to help me make my money. I'd probably choose good management over bad vibes. Or good vibes. I'd probably choose good management over good vibes if it was like solely my money maker,
If you were the business owner of the studio?
No. Like if I was going to the studio and like my whole life depended on the firings that they were doing coming out well.
Oh, right.
I'd choose good management over good vibes.
Because you have to rely on them for timelines and not fucking your stuff up.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, good question for sure. All right, next one is, what's the best way to tell people / students who think they're good that they need more practice with the basics? Anonymous.
I love this question. This is
Best way to tell students who think they're good that they need more practice with the basics.
If
And
you're
good is also like sort of subjective, but also depends on what you're going for, what the students' goals are.
Yeah.
But okay. So somebody thinks they're hot shit and they're not.
Well, me and Ryan kind of talked about this before we started, but I will say that if you're in my class, you'll know. You'll know without if you were in my class, I'd be like, you could do this better. Like I'm really blunt.
What's the situation where you say that? Do they ask for your advice, or is it you're going around and you're assessing and you're saying you could have done that better at the end result? It usually
starts with them like having something and asking a question. Like, why can't I trim this piece well? And then I'll be like, well, that's because your rim isn't flat because you can't figure out how to center your clay. And then I blink. I blink and I stare.
And then they're like thinking back, they're like, centering clay? That's like, okay.
Yeah. But what we both agreed upon, you can say what we both thought would be a good idea.
Yeah, so we were kind of talking about doing some kind of a challenge.
Mm-hmm. Like of a whole class.
Yeah, so maybe it's, hey, we're going to take, I always go to this challenge, but it's like, we're going to take a 1-pound ball of clay and see how tall we can pull it.
Yeah.
So you do different challenges to try to test them, not necessarily as a tool to like rank people, but
no,
you're trying to see how they fit with their skills, just back to the basics.
Yeah.
Without thinking of, okay, this is the end goal of what I'm trying to make. It's just, let's narrow in and focus on this one thing that we're trying to do.
Yeah. I think that a good way to also approach that is while and during that like moment where you're like, hey, let's do a challenge. Let us kind of, I just lost the word that I wanted to use. Let us critique certain things that we might need to work on with when we do this. Like everybody, like, you know, really look at what you're struggling with and where you should get, and then do an example.
Can they see that they're struggling? Because you say we need to work on. Do a lot of people assume that you're saying you need to work on? Or do they just say, oh, well, they're talking about other people, not me?
I think a lot of people think that. But if you do a challenge correctly and show them what they should be getting at and they can't get there, then... And
is it you setting a standard of this is what I do?
Yeah, I mean, that really...
You shouldn't match me, but you should be...
pretty damn close.
Proportional.
Yeah, so like...
or close.
So like... okay, I have a fun story, kind of. My friend, who shall not be named, just actually did a challenge with her students. And it was just like a fun thing, you know? Not because anybody was doing bad, but she was like, let's do a 2-pound ball to 10 inches, and then, or maybe it was a foot or something. And she was like, I should probably try that before
putting the challenge on them.
I have all them do this, and she doesn't. She's like, okay, so maybe 3 pounds, you know, or like, you know, she like upped the clay because she was like, that's not realistic. So, yeah, so like, make sure you can do whatever you say they should do, but you know, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm sorry, but there's a lot of teachers out there that could not even probably do that sort of challenge to the best of their ability, you know. There's some people out there teaching,
so they wouldn't necessarily be a benchmark for the class.
Correct.
Or they wouldn't be enough of a benchmark to...
Yeah. So I don't know how to approach that when you're not up to the standard of, you know, but in maybe this regard, it sounds like maybe the teacher's a lot better, you know, than the student. But yeah, I definitely say that. Yeah.
Is there a different way to do it?
Like a critique, you could do a critique, like a class critique, and kind of like go over everything and just be blunt, you know. Like when I started doing stuff in Bruning's class, I had a dream about him last night. It was really weird. Anyway, when I started doing stuff in his class, we took all of my mugs, laid them out on a table, and he was like, all right, let's critique everything. And he was like, these bottoms are way too thin. Look at them falling over. And these handles could have had better connections. And like was very straightforward, and it was very helpful, you know? But I don't know. That's a really hard situation.
I wonder if... so, similar to a challenge, what if you went into it with, we're going to do as best you can with 5 things, and then we're going to assess them. Yeah. And you're only going to keep 2 of them. Or, so you will have to smash
Yeah, like everybody does the exact same thing and assess.
And then I think with the intention of, hey, we're only going to save the best of the best, it builds in that ability of saying you don't have to save every piece, and also you can assess why something is better than the other.
Yeah.
Not that you're comparing like individuals to each other, but you're comparing the 5 pieces in front of you to each other that you made.
I keep reading this question, and I keep thinking about like how I would handle it, like personally, like in the past. And I know that I would just go up to somebody, not in front of everybody. Let's keep that in mind. Like privately and be, or, nonchalantly and be like, hey, I really like where you're going with all of these things, but I think maybe you need to work on centering a little bit more. And I'm more than happy to help you. I would love to help you,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's exactly how I would do it, honestly. Just to be like straightforward and to the point, because it's not really helping them to be not good at the basics. Ooh, you could send them, you could tell them to get a consultation by Becca Otis. I will help them. Anyway.
5linespottery.com.
5linespottery.com. Yeah. I just think, I don't know. I mean, like, I think the competition is a good way for them to realize that maybe they need some help, but just to be honest.
I also wonder if we're assuming that everybody wants to be better and better and better. Like,
true.
Maybe they don't, but
maybe they don't. Yeah. But if they think they're good and they aren't, and you're in a teacher situation,
are you responsible for humbling them?
Right. And I think you might be. It's not a fun thing to do, unless you hate them.
I would avoid that. I would hate that situation. I would not do that. I don't know. I mean, the challenge thing sounds good, and the whole, hey, let's focus on making 3 pieces and then assessing. That sounds like a good idea to me, but I don't know. Or, hey, we're going to make 3 pieces and we're going to cut all of them in half and assess how they look.
Right. Yeah, that's good too. The cutting in half always kind of kicks you right in the ass. Kicks me in the ass all the time.
Yeah. I don't know.
But yeah, I know how I would handle it, but it's not for everybody. That's not for everybody. And I think a challenge is a good way to do it.
I think it takes a good teacher to be able to do that.
Right. Like, I have the ability, like,
without discouraging, because you could sound like you're criticizing, you're discouraging people when they just want to be there to have fun. Or maybe they want to be there to have fun, but maybe there are some that want to be critical or more.
Oh, that brings up a good point.
Growth, right? So, and then do you split people up and you say, okay, well, those of you who want to progress, let's do this challenge. So you're not including everybody for people that don't really care about that.
Right. Yeah, it is important too. Like, I'd probably come up and be like, so what are your plans? Like, what are your goals? And I actually usually ask people that at the very beginning of a session anyway, where I say, why are you here? Like, do you want to just have fun? Do you want to learn? Do you want to be the best potter in the whole world? Like, Or
do you just want a Wednesday night away from kids?
Yeah, do you just need some time just to put your hands in the clay and just fuck around? And that's really important, because if you're just in that situation, I will let you be. You can have your time.
Yeah, because how enjoyable is it with somebody imposing this challenge on you when you're like, I'm just here to have fun. I don't want to be challenged.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, like, if they think they're good and they need more practice, I mean, I thought I was good in college and I needed a lot of practice. Nobody told me otherwise. I turned out fine. Is it important to tell them?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I feel like it's kind of in sports. Some people feel like they're just great and they don't need to put in that work and the repetition to practice.
Mm-hmm, that's fair.
Like, okay, you're supposed to practice your are you doing your free throws or whatever, and you know, you're shooting good enough, but could you be better? Or
could you be better?
You know, I mean, that's more of a team thing, so
just like
it does
pass
actually have
over a
impact.
note. But could you be better? I love this mug. Yeah, but could you be better? Could it be better?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a tough question that, yeah, is very personality driven, I do feel like. But I hope we gave some insights to how we would handle it.
Yeah, I would generally stay away from criticizing people or critiquing people if they're not open to it.
Yeah,
because I don't want to ruin the vibe for anybody. So that's generally how I teach.
Yeah,
but that's just me. I'm also like, I'm not the best teacher. Like, I don't care about teaching as much as other people that care about teaching. Like, that's their thing. It's not really my thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I am a very blunt teacher, but I also have an extremely good, like, fun personality. So whatever I say typically goes well. Yeah. Or it doesn't, and then you can leave. That's that. It either goes really, really well or really, really not. So there's no in between.
Yes. So what flavor of pudding's your favorite?
So, yeah. What type of pudding do you like?
Go back. All right. Next question.
I'll say this one because you've said most of them. I have something to pick both of your brains about. I rent a space in kilns to fire. I gladly pay the price for firing, but I was thinking, should I be tipping as well? Thanks, absolutely. Love the podcast and Jewett. I think I responded to her personally, but I'm curious what you have to say.
So she's renting kiln space.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like a tipping thing, personally. It just doesn't. It seems like that's the job of what you're paying for. I don't really see it as a tipping kind of situation, like other services.
Right.
But
nobody tipped
would you feel weird getting tipped for that?
I would not.
You wouldn't, but like what situation? Okay.
Okay.
I would feel kind of weird. I would be like, "You're tipping me?"
I think that what I responded to with this was, it depends on who's loading the kiln. You know, if it is the owner loading the kiln, no, don't tip them. If it's a employee that gets paid hourly, or, you know, they don't get paid a lot, maybe tipping is good, but maybe not tipping monthly or like randomly. Maybe do like a Christmas bonus is what I would say.
Ooh, I like that.
So like and maybe like twice. So do like an Easter bonus and a Christmas bonus, you know, where you're
How do you know who's doing it? Do you just assume that it's the same person all the time?
Yeah, and I mean, like, and if there's multiple, like, you know, people that work there, then, you know, but like, yeah, I mean, if somebody handed me like a $20 gift card to, or just $20 at Christmas time and a little tiny toy dinosaur, I'd be elated, you know?
What if no toy dinosaur was included?
I don't know if I'd be as happy.
Okay.
Did I tell you that I got a toy dinosaur and a tip?
No. I went
to Beach Grove Clayworks to do a little workshop, and I did it for free because it was just fun for me to do. And it was like the sweetest thing in the whole world. They all like gave little ones and fives, and like there was probably like maybe $15 in this envelope, and there was a pencil, a number 2 pencil, a sticker, a few stickers, and then a tiny toy dinosaur that was like an inch long and like a half an inch tall. And I was like, this is the best payment I've ever gotten. Like, you could tell they just like threw it together. Yeah, so, but definitely I would say like a Christmas or a holiday bonus.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah.
It would just seem kind of weird to tip them every single time, or just tipping them in general just feels. I would see the bonus as not like a tip. I would see that as like a thank you.
Yeah. And I think that's what it is, you know, like, hey, we really appreciate what you've done and like how you've handled our work and stuff like that.
Especially if you're selling your stuff and it relies on them to have good firings.
Yeah. And
So-
don't give them pottery. Like, I know that's like probably super lame.
Don't give them one of your pieces that they unloaded. that
don't do that.
Hey, this is a piece I really love that I would love you to have.
Yeah, like, don't do that. Like, they probably have enough pots, you know? If they express interest in a pot at some point, just be like, hey, here you go. You know, but don't make that your tip or bonus or whatever. Now, how much would you give a bonus at the end of the year, do you think, to like, let's say, let's say...
Depends on how much you're firing, right?
Yeah, I guess it does depend on how much you're firing. Let's say you're firing 5 to 10 pieces a week.
5 to 10 pieces a week. Can we just do number of kiln firings a month?
Sure. Well, she rents space in a kiln. So we'll say like a full kiln a month. Let's say that.
Okay. So 12 firings a year.
24 actually, because bisque.
Oh, okay. 2 kilns a month. Yeah. I was initially just thinking $50.
Ooh, $50 is a good round number. I like that number. Yeah,
I feel like if you went 100, that'd be feeling like a lot.
that's a lot.
Especially if they're not expecting it. 50's like, oh. But 20 seems like...
20 is a little, yeah. Like for the whole year, I think $50 is appropriate.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Would you change it?
And a thing of cookies.
Ooh, handmade
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
Food or snacks.
Yeah.
Little
Hell yeah.
holiday snacks would be good.
Yeah.
My mom always used to make chocolate covered pretzels, and she would give them to like our male person.
Your mom told me about
My teachers and stuff. In school, I would always bring those in and give those to teachers.
Oh, can I add this in? This is not about community studios, but now's the time. I hope we have this before Christmas. If you're going to give a mug or if you're going to give anything to your postman or garbage person, I absolutely recommend you putting in something that says world's greatest garbage person or world's greatest postman or mailman or mailwoman. Best gift I've ever given, honestly.
Should I give them something at the post office? I don't have a person picking up my mail. Well, they drop off the mail, but they don't pick up anything. So
can they put what you should do is give them a bowl and then on it say world's greatest post office, and so they can put candy in it behind the window.
Well, there's no window, it's just a counter, but
oh, perfect. So then put a bunch of chocolate Hershey's Kisses in it and give it to them so they can have a little candy bowl.
I don't know if I'll do that, but I was thinking of gifting a mug to each one or something.
Oh, that's a good idea too.
I feel like I know their names enough to remember. I'll make some mental notes of it when I go up there in the next few days. I know there's a Mark and a Chris.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I don't know
still,
the third one.
world's greatest postal worker is a hit, fan favorite every time.
World's greatest postal worker. Okay.
Yeah, and if you give it to 4 of them, that's even better. Because then I'm like, what? You should have one that says world's greatest est.
Greatest test.
That's not really your brand of humor, but
No, it's not.
yeah. And yeah, but anyway, I really recommend that for your peeps that do gifts.
Maybe I'll give them a box of 4 and then just let them figure out who wants what.
Yeah.
4 different ones that won't have names on them or anything.
Right. That's a good idea.
And then they can figure out what they want to do.
And remember that your postal guy cannot get tips. So you cannot give tips to anybody at the post office because it's a government facility. So they can get gifts under a certain amount of money. I want to say it's $50. But if it's cash, nobody needs to know.
How do you give them cash?
You just give it to them, and they put it in their pocket.
Okay. My mom always used to put the stuff in the mailbox with the flag up.
I know. I think your
But
mom
they
actually
walk.
did tell me that, like, she looked it up at how much money they can get as a gift and made sure that it was, like, under that amount.
Sounds like something she would do.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if they're walking and they're getting all these gifts and they're... Well, I mean, it's just whenever, but...
Well, they walk for, like, a mile and then they go back to their vehicle.
Yeah, ours... On our street, they walk probably 12 or 15 houses before they get back to the vehicle.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. That's the tipping thing.
Yeah.
And then there is one more question. All right. How much work, and this is from Anonymous, how much work is reasonable to make or have fired at a community studio? Do you think there's a limit?
Oh, there's a limit. 100%.
All right. Does it matter if we're talking about a weekly class versus a space rental, like a booth rental?
Like a kiln rental, you mean?
Well, like Queen City Clay has booth rental, booth or half booth, which is just a wheel and shelving, and you have your own dedicated space. And if you have a half booth, that means you share with one other person, and you just figure out scheduling of when you're going to be there.
Yeah, but then how do they...
And then they pay for kiln space.
They pay for kiln space.
Yeah.
Okay, well, in a place like Queen City Clay where they have like 17 kilns, there's not a limit. But in a place that has 2 kilns, there's a limit.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, plus the place with 2 kilns, you're probably not paying per kiln load.
Right.
You're probably paying for your clay, and then the firing is included as part of the clay that you're buying.
Maybe, but like Josh has tickets for his, like Josh Heim. He has tickets for the amount of space you take up in the kiln. So, and a lot of places are doing that now where they pay per, like, you pay for the bag and you get maybe bisque for free, but then you have to pay for the glaze firing of how much space you have in the kiln, because if it's tall or if it's wide, you know. But
What's that equivalent to, like, one full kiln for a whole 8 weeks or something? Or half a kiln?
I don't know. I don't know how they do it. He has like a height versus width chart, you know, that he has. But I definitely got told I was taking too much space in the kiln.
What studio?
Bruning.
And burning?
Yeah. And then his wife was like, absolutely not. You can do whatever you want. And then a month later, I left.
Because they know that when they say that, you're kind of on your way out.
Well, I think that he was thinking about the business and how much stuff they were putting in the kilns. And she was thinking about me. And
the vibes and the management.
And my growth, yeah. And and like making sure that I think that she saw that I had a lot of potential as an actual potter. And she wanted...
And you could have sunk if you went out and you had to buy your own kiln and your own stuff, and you would have had to pay for that.
Yeah. So, but I was doing a lot more than most people. I was putting like 100 pieces in a week. So.
Right. 100 a week?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's definitely over the limit.
That's over the limit. That is 100% over the limit.
Because 100 pieces, that's probably half a kiln. More than that. A kiln? Depends on the size of the kiln, but...
Well, they were tiny. They were small, like pinch pots, so they could, like, scoot them in. And here's...
But that's still annoying to fit.
Very annoying. But they weren't... it also was a car kiln, so they pulled it out. A train kiln or whatever. So they pulled it out, and they never actually moved any of the shelves. They kind of just, like, put pieces in. So it was a little less annoying. But... here's what I would suggest. I don't know what you would suggest, but here's what I would suggest. There is a limit, that limit needs to be discussed with your studio owner. Because they could be like, you can do as much as you want. It's fine.
And then they're kind of on the hook for agreeing to that
exactly.
because you specifically talked to them.
Yeah. But they could have a limit, and you need to respect that limit. Now, it might be something like, hey, I'm starting to make a lot of stuff. Can I pay for an entire kiln? Once every 2 weeks. So it's not impeding on them, and you say, I'll load it. I take responsibility.
Would they trust you to load their kiln?
Well, I think you can say, hey, like, I'll come in and we can load it together or something like that, for the first time. And then,
yeah,
and then they have a little bit more trust in you. What do you think?
Yeah, I was kind of relating it to the number of bags of clay you would use, because that's kind of how we did it at Baker Hunt. And I don't know how other classes do it. I know in a lot of classes, you do an 8-week class, you get 1 bag of clay included.
Yeah, most clay places
and
like
usually that's going to be fine. I would say for 8 weeks, you shouldn't be doing more than 2 bags of clay for 8 weeks. I don't know what that equivalent is for pots necessarily, but it seems like you can get a lot of stuff made with 2 bags, like 50 pounds of clay in an 8-week class. But you also, Baker Hunt didn't have any outside studio time, so maybe 2 bags of clay is nothing for 8 weeks. But
right.
I like the talking with them portion. You also may be bringing up ideas that they haven't actually ran into yet. So
yeah,
it's kind of better to assess it on a good footing instead of hitting the wall, and then they have to figure out what they do, and then they may come down harder on you because it's the first time and they want to set an example of like what's acceptable and what's not.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like they're going to be too harsh on you, but they're overwhelmed by it, and then they got to come back to normal. And then it feels like they're chopping an arm off of you or something because, you were getting this before and now it's not okay. So
yeah. I had a student who we didn't really have this exact conversation like we should have, but she was making a bunch of really small things. And I remember loading the kiln and being like, Karma is such a fucking bitch. Like, like loading the kiln and being like, this is the world getting back at me for making Bruning load all those fucking pinch pots. Like, there was so many. I was so pissed every time I had to load the kiln just because of how many small, stupid things there were. And they were like double-sided and they had to be on stilts. And
oh, fuck that.
It was horrible.
And then you get blamed if something happens with the glazing and or the glaze firing because you're stilting them and they gotta.
Yeah. Oh, hey, tell everybody what you got in the mail. We forgot to say that.
Oh, I did. I got some advancer shelves in the mail.
Have you used them yet?
I have not. I've got the full shelf in my bisque kiln right now. I need to fill the rest of it, and then I'll fire it.
Did you look online? They have, like, specific instructions. I don't know if you have to prime the shelf or not.
It says they're already fired.
Good to go?
And they're good to go.
Okay.
Just don't get them wet is kind of the main thing.
Don't get them wet, and I like to dust a little alumina on the top.
I'm not going to do that, but...
Why?
Why would I?
Are you just going to use them for bisque?
No, but I'm going to fire them in bisque right now. I mean, part of the reason I don't want to put alumina on them is because my other shelves that I have alumina for are flat like that, and I don't want to have to keep doing that. That's part of the reason I got the shelves. So if I fire underglaze on them, ideally it wouldn't stick. But
okay, but you have to...
Will it stick?
Please just listen to me, okay?
Go ahead.
Okay. You're not, like, putting a shit ton of alumina on. You're putting like a salt shaker amount of alumina on and then rubbing it across the shelf because it will stick a tiny bit, but not a lot. The alumina just helps it just glide.
What do I do with that shelf when I take it out of the kiln with alumina on it?
You won't even notice that it's there. Like, literally.
Can I turn the shelf on its side?
Yeah.
And stand it up? Or is the alumina going to get all over the floor when I do that?
No. It's going to be like literally like when you make pizza and you put flour on the top of it and you just, like, dust it.
So is the alumina going to stay on the shelf and bake into the shelf?
It doesn't bake into it. It just kind of like, you'll see. Okay, when you take it out of the glaze kiln for the first time, run your hand across it. I know, very risky in a kiln, but it shouldn't have any glass pieces. But run your hand across it and you'll feel it. You'll feel it kind of like catch a little. And if you just like, I would honestly like, this is such bad practice, but when I had these shelves, I would literally dust a little on and take my bare hand and just run it all over it just to get it into like the little grooves that stuck, and then it was good. Because if a glaze like runs on it, you're gonna have to take it off, which is fine. And then you just want to put a tiny bit of alumina on it. It does help, I promise. I know it's weird.
I just don't want to. I want to be able to stand them up on their side when I take them out of the kiln.
Oh,
I don't want to have to keep them standing parallel to the ground so that no alumina gets on the ground. I don't want dust on the ground and stuff like that.
We're not talking about heaps of alumina. We're talking about a tablespoon of alumina, maybe.
Okay.
Or
which is what I have. I have heaps of alumina on my shelves now
we're
that I
not
put my
talking about
underglaze
that.
on.
Definitely not talking about that. We're like literally just
But is that recommendation for certain types of clay?
Definitely for the underglaze.
That are more likely to stick to the shelf or not stick to the shelf? Like with plucking? Or you're not talking about...
It'll pluck a little bit. Yeah, it'll pluck a little bit. That's what I just found. I was using porcelain. It might be a little bit different, but that's what I found with the porcelain is that if I did that dusting of alumina, my bottoms were way softer and I didn't have to sand them as much.
Okay, so you had like a porcelaneous stoneware.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just like do your first firing, see how it works. And then if it does take a little bit off.
I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious how the speckled clay is going to do because normally the speckled clay will have the little dots on the
kiln shelf.
On the kiln shelf for the regular kiln wash during glaze firing. So I'm wondering if that's going to have any effect. Like if I were to do that and then put a white pot on top of that over time.
Do you have one of those red-handled grinder things?
No. I got that stone that they have with it.
Okay, well, with the stone, then maybe... I have one of the grinder things, which I would just take over each shelf every time, no matter what, and just, like, run it over it and get all those pieces off and then kind of, like, brush it off. That might be...
I'm not going to do that, but maybe. If I see it there, but...
Fine.
I don't know. Like, I don't do that with my kiln shelf now with kiln wash on it. So, like, why would I do it with that? Because there's nowhere for it to penetrate? Like, would you sand a regular kiln shelf with kiln wash if those little specks were on there?
Well, I don't have kiln wash on my kiln shelves, but...
Your Dark Star doesn't do that, does it? It's a different kind of specs than mine, I'm guessing.
Oh, it transfers to the kiln shelf for sure.
Okay, so it's similar to what I have.
Yeah, it transfers for sure. I just don't do anything about it because I'm not switching clays. So I would say if you are switching clays, then I would maybe do a quick sweep over the shelf. Now, I treated my kiln shelves a lot differently than I treated my regular ones. Always have, always will. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. I mean, occasionally I will have a little bits of kiln wash that will stick to the pot.
Yeah.
And usually I just rub two pieces together.
Right.
And then it comes off. So
just remember,
that could be little bits of the speck that was on a different pot that stuck to the bottom of the pot that I just fired.
Remember that the advancer kiln shelves are not avoiding plucking per se. They are avoiding the pot sticking to the kiln. So, like,
They're avoiding the glaze sticking or the pot sticking?
The pot and glaze sticking. So that doesn't mean that the glaze won't stay on the shelf or the clay won't stay on the shelf, but it might like pick up and move a little bit, you know? So
pick up and move a little bit. So you're saying that you're talking about with like wide surface areas?
Yeah.
Because the kiln, the clay is still shrinking on the shelf?
It's really hard to explain. But like, let's say you're doing your underglaze on the bottom, okay? Mm-hmm. And let's say you just put it straight on a shelf, okay?
It's a flat bottom. It's got carving, but it's a flat surface.
And it's got underglaze on it. Okay, the likelihood of that sticking to the shelf is very slim, but there is a chance that it will stick. But the difference is that it'll stick, and then the pot will shrink, and it will move with it, but it'll still be kind of like taken off of the pot a little bit. But you'll be able to get it off of the shelf really easily.
The underglaze will come off the pot?
It might. Now, if you brush your kiln shelves with alumina, they won't.
Okay.
It's so hard to explain.
So it's the same thing of the whole sand is like little mini ball bearings on kiln shelves.
It's the same thing.
Similar with alumina, it's little ball bearings so things can shift and move. And
yes, they are really good about like it not sticking to a pot and cracking the pot because it's stuck and it won't move. But that doesn't mean that they're invincible to the fact of it taking away a little bit of glaze off of your pot, you know?
Underglaze.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I would still try one without doing anything and see what it does. Because it might be great. But if it does have, like, a little issue, literally the smallest amount of alumina can change the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to dip my toe in the water, so I'm not going to put a whole shelf full of pots with nothing on them, and then I'm like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
Didn't think this was going to happen. So I'll do the little test cups that have slip on them, that have underglaze on them with the bottoms, put them straight on the shelf like I would ideally want.
Yeah.
No alumina, no anything fancy.
Yeah, hopefully it works. I just found that, like, brushing it on was quite helpful.
Okay.
So...
Does it matter if you do that before the very first firing or?
I did, but it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want.
I just don't want luminous dust on in the studio floors and stuff. That's why I don't want to brush it. But if you say it bakes into it, then that would eliminate that.
It doesn't bake into it. It's just not as much as you're thinking.
Okay.
It's literally like I said, it's probably
a little bit will go a long way.
A teaspoon. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I ended up getting a full shelf and then 2 half shelves. And the little block thing.
The block thing. Yeah.
The eraser, I think is what they call it, but to get any chunks of glaze off the shelf.
Yeah.
That you can kind of grind it with. Like you're talking about the red handled thing.
Yeah.
So we'll see how they go. I haven't fired it yet. I got it kind of as a trial to see how I like them and if they help me with loading the kiln or
gosh, they're so light. Ugh, bless.
If I can like play around with, what pots I could put on them and not put on them, like we were just talking about with the underglaze stuff, and then I kind of want to see with like spoon rests and stuff, if I could put an extra layer, and then they're thinner, so they don't hold as much heat. So I wonder if it would displace the heat a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Besides having this huge chunk of a 1/2 inch shelf, 3/4 inch shelf in there.
Yeah.
So we'll play around with that and see how that does. I hope that I can, when I load them and I put the shelf in, I'll try to load it lower. Maybe it'll be the first shelf I put in there because they should be pretty stable. You don't like warp and stuff. So I might put it not the very bottom shelf, but maybe the first shelf up in my really tall kiln, and see if that helps displace the
heat
a little bit more.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll definitely experiment with it and see how they work. But I'm excited to get those and try them out.
Yeah, that'll be good. Did we finish this question that I totally interrupted in? I feel like we did.
How much work is reasonable to make or have fire at a community studio? Do you think there's a limit?
I think it like
do you have to know the limit, or is it up to the studio to tell you the limit?
No, it's up to the studio to tell you the limit. It's up to you to discuss with the studio about the limit, because like my kilns in like my old studio, I had a huge oval kiln, a medium big kiln, and then a baby kiln. If someone started making so much stuff, and this did happen once, someone started making so much stuff, and I was like, hey, you want to just load up the baby kiln and you can fire it? Like, I'll teach you how to fire it, and we'll just do it that way. And she was like, great. And then I didn't have to worry about it, you know? Or like maybe...
Could they fire it whenever?
Yeah. Like, or maybe I fired it, but she loaded it, you know? And I didn't have to worry about getting all of her stuff in all the time. I also think that if you are making that much stuff, you have to be the one that's flexible with time, you know?
Oh, yeah. Demanding things when you're kind of on borrowed time with them anyways. They have a couple reasons to probably have some tough conversations with you.
Yeah. And
whether it's you need to pay more or you need to get out.
Yeah.
Not get out.
I would say 100 pieces a week is well over the limit. I've done that.
Yeah. I was thinking like 30 pieces a week would probably be a reasonable limit.
30 pieces a week. If somebody did 30 pieces a week at my studio, that would have been a lot. You know?
Yeah.
So
100 is way past the limit.
Way past it. Way past. But like 30 pieces, I feel like is a reasonable limit. Yeah.
Yeah. And most people aren't even at that production that they could make 30 pieces a week.
Sorry. Woo! Yeah. Most people aren't.
Do you, so we kind of came to this a little bit at Baker Hunt when they were changing some of the class instruction structure. Because there were some students that were using more of the studio time to make what they wanted. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily take advantage, but they were using the studio to make
to holiday presents
to its fullest, and they were making what they wanted to make, and then they were using studio glazes, or they were bringing their own glazes in and firing, and there was some perception that they were just using the studio for the firings.
Isn't that the point?
And they weren't necessarily following there wasn't necessarily a curriculum for those upper level students, because it wasn't, everybody was doing different things. At an advanced state, people are in different states of what they want to make and what they spend their time doing and what they end up glazing and all this stuff. So they're doing their own thing for the most part.
Yeah.
And you're kind of there to proctor and spectate and help out, do demos where requested. But there was a perception that they were doing more. So they kind of tailored it to, hey, now we're going to make the class more curriculum based, where everybody is making the same thing. Not exact same thing, but it's like teapot is our focus right now.
Did they drop out? I would have dropped out.
For 3 weeks. So naturally what ended up happening was a lot of those students leave.
Yeah, I would have.
Or they go to other studios where they have that flexibility because they want that flexibility.
Yeah. I would have left. I mean,
so
it's dumb if you've been there for 4 years and they're like, we're going to do teapots this week. Like, fuck you, Janet. Like, I'm going to do whatever I fucking want because I've been here forever and I've given you $5,000. Like,
so I think that, that kind of plays into the limit and what's reasonable, where that's where management, and it kind of relates to what we were talking about earlier, where management shifts kind of the
expectation.
I want to say like the mission statement, or like the reason behind the way we're structuring the offerings that we have.
Were those like what they were doing for fun? Was it getting in the way?
it was some of the sizing was excessive. Like, so one of the things was you're producing a lot of work, and some of the work may have had issues that you took up kiln space for that may not have been the top quality work that you could have been producing.
Yeah.
So it was kind of to a point where you had to either, as an instructor, you had to have the conversations with the students of saying, hey, you know what? We need to refine our craft a little bit more.
Yeah.
Let's slow down, less focus on higher production and more quantity, and more focus on fewer things, better quality. So that's where you had to kind of get into those conversations. I wasn't personally open to having those conversations as much because I was more, like I said earlier, I don't want to have those difficult conversations because I'm not the one firing the kiln and setting the rules.
Right.
But also, you know, I want to be there to for them to have fun and enjoy making what they're making.
Yeah.
And if they have issues, then I can answer the questions of why the issues happen. But I don't want to enforce them to have to follow these guidelines of what the curriculum entails, which is part of the reason I pulled back, which I've never talked about on here, but you know, that's some of the reason of where the studio gets to decide what offerings they have and what they don't, and what the students are allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do.
Yeah. For sure.
But I mean, that also plays into the limit too, because some of it was, some people are taking advantage somewhat of what is available with our studio.
Yeah.
Because if you're talking about 2 kilns and a class is taking up by themselves a kiln, and they've still got, you know, 4 other days of classes or 5 other days of classes.
Right.
I mean, you got to do something. If you don't have space to add another kiln to the studio.
Yeah.
And the people who are paying the same amount as a beginning student that's not producing as much work, what do? Do you charge more for the advanced class because they're producing more work? Or do you charge more for a bag? So one of the options was they charge more for the second bag of clay. So your first bag of clay you get is whatever, $25, and then the second bag of clay is $35.
Yeah.
So you pay more for the excess clay you're getting. But yeah, that's kind of some of the options that'll play into that. I mean, if you don't have the space, you can't add more kiln space. So what do? I mean, you got to do something.
Yeah,
You're not
got
going
to set
cut
boundaries.
down classes, right?
Yeah, you got to set guidelines and boundaries.
So,
man, sucks. They didn't handle the situation very well, though. So, but I probably shouldn't have said that.
but yeah, and then you got to work with personalities of people. Like, you can't change how people are going to react and how people are. And some people are going to be there and they're going to make the decisions, and you can't change who's making the decisions just because you don't agree with it. So you kind of have to meld and adjust to what's the reality of what the situation is, or you can go elsewhere. Right?
Yeah.
So luckily we're in a place where students themselves can go elsewhere. They can go to other studios that have other offerings, and they can pay.
Many.
And they can pay. They're paying for that flexibility because, for one, Baker Hunt was so cheap.
Yeah.
You know, where a class was $175, Queen City Clay might have been $250.
Yeah.
But you might have got more open studio time that you didn't get.
Right.
So that's where you can pick and choose where you want to take classes at, and the different offerings that different places have. So
for sure.
Yes, I think we fully answered that question. And then some.
Yeah.
Would you ever want to be in a community studio again?
No.
Or lead a community studio
Absolutely
again?
not. Are you kidding me? You know what, though? I will say, I don't know if I should share this, but...
Would you rather have a community studio that focused on teaching classes and didn't have members, or just members?
Members. Only members. I would
Just
maybe
members?
do it if it was only members. I had one of the ladies reached out to me who was in my community studio, and she has moved to Alaska. And
wow.
She sent me this really long, really thoughtful message. I had talked about on Instagram that I was kind of in burnout mode, and she, oh my God, it was like the most thoughtful message. She started it with like, your studio was my fallout, my home, my place to be. So I thank you. And like, it almost made me cry. She
said that when you, like, in response to your,
yeah, in kind of response, and she was
like, hey, what you were doing was worth it.
Right, and she was like, I know that, like, I didn't know that you were so depressed, but I wanted you to know that your studio made such an impact in my life when I was going through a bad time, that it was, you know, it saved her.
Yeah, it was like a little haven for them.
Right,
when they came to the
and
studio.
she's in Alaska now, and she's like, I'm not sure that I fit, you know? And she's a wonderful human being, but she was one of the people that I had to just let them learn how to do it on their own, you know, because and I was,
you can only tell people so much
right,
if they're not opening their ears to listen.
Yeah, and I was so grateful that she was in my class and stuff, but yeah, so she's like joining a new studio, and you know, she might not fit in as much, but it was like, even doing this episode, like, I'm thinking about all the funny things that happened, you know, and all the connections I made when I had the studio, and I loved it so much. I mean, I loved the people, and like, of course, there was weird fucking shit that happened, you know, and like things that, like, people that joined that I was like, please leave. Like, I couldn't count the days until they left, you know. But overall, it was a wonderful experience, and it was a safe haven for a lot of people, you know. And I may not have been the best business person or maybe the best teacher, but we always had a good time. And after I like learned the ropes a little bit, you know, there was like a learning period, of course, but it was great. And
yeah,
you know,
I mean, it seems like the membership aspect, if you focus on that, that's probably a pay the bills kind of a financial situation.
Yeah,
making sure your equipment and everything's paid for, and then the teaching is the profit part of it.
Yeah, it can be,
but it also requires the most churn of
memberships. Can be really profitable too, though. Like, there's a local studio here that they have a wait list for their membership.
Well, you're at a capacity, right?
Yeah.
You come to a capacity of how many you can hold, and then you're kind of maxed out. But then what do? Do you increase the price every year or something to keep growing?
I think you increase the space. Probably.
You make the space bigger?
Yeah. That's what I would do. If you're at...
How would you do that if you rented a big building? How would you increase your space in that 3,000 square foot building?
Oh, in mine?
Yeah, just as an example, if you moved into a big space or a space and you're at capacity, if it's a smaller building that you're renting, so you have to up and move to a different place,
well,
in hopes that you would keep growing.
I know an example that, like, I think that let's say I was doing classes and memberships, okay? And it got to a point where I was making, like, we had every membership spot filled. We had a wait list for 25 more members. Okay.
And how many members do you have right now
20.
in that situation? 20. Okay.
Okay,
So double.
20 members, and you have double the membership available. And people are like trying to get in. And then you have classes. And let's say you're in a 2,000 square foot space. Okay. I would, if it were I would get another space that's probably 2,000 square feet, move all the members over there, move a kiln over there, and make the main space your classes space. So
have them kind of
two separate identities.
Really, all they need is equipment and shelving,
right,
for the most
part. Two separate identities: wheels, kiln, shelving, or wheels, kiln, slab roller, shelving. And yeah, that's what I would do. And
ideally, you would have access to a space like that in proximity.
Right. Ideally.
So, yeah.
Ideally, obviously. But if you are already in business and you are already, like, doing well, separating those two spaces wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't like be bad, you know? Because the membership,
but that gives you more maintenance that you have to take care of.
It does, but the membership side, they take care of themselves for the most part. You know, you have certain guidelines for membership, like you have to, you have to clean up your shit.
Do you need somebody else to help with some of the membership? Not babysitting, but like the logistics with members and stuff, with making sure they pay on time and bringing new members in. Here's what you get access to. Here's how you.
Well, I mean, you can
maybe
set up
you have an assistant that loads the kilns or something.
Right, you can set up like things for that. It
seems like you're doubling your membership, but you're not accounting for the extra mental space that it's going to take to double your membership.
True.
Once you get that many people to.
True, but in my experience, members take care of themselves for the most part. And, it's going to take a little bit of work at the beginning, but once they have their routine in, it's fine. And then
that allows you to teach more people in that space?
In the original space, yeah.
So you're basically doubling your options in both by having two spaces?
Well, yeah, you're doubling your business, so you essentially have two locations, but instead of having one location with teaching and membership and one location with teaching and membership, you have one location with membership, one location with teaching. So, but I would also, if it were I would also take a couple members that are superior, or ones that care, and say, hey, I'll take $20 off your membership if you clean the floors once a week, or take.
Load the kilns.
Yeah, or, and like barter with money for a few members to work on the cleaning
or
stuff.
Would you offer a free membership or something if they were the studio assistant?
Yeah, maybe.
It seems like a lot of extra work. You said like doubling your business, right?
Of course it's extra work, but if you want to grow, that's how you're going to do it, I wouldn't do it personally, but
as you said, it sounds like a nightmare.
I would rather just have people it be in demand, but
yeah.
But that's because I've already been through growth before, and it sucks.
Smaller space at capacity.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to worry about making the rent on the studio space that's members. It's just
right.
We're already taken care of. We're just focusing time on the teaching part of it, maybe.
Yeah.
And kind of optimizing as much as you can in the smaller space that you have available.
Yeah.
I don't know. Moving space just sounds like a nightmare. But if you're adding a new one, maybe not as much.
Right.
But double the overhead, possibly.
Right.
More equipment.
Right.
You definitely need more equipment.
Yeah. I mean, after everything I've been through, smaller is definitely better for me. But
yeah. I would just think less people to interact with would probably be way more manageable.
Yeah. It's true.
With just random things coming up.
It's also weird, like, if you do have a small space, too, it is kind of weird because you're, like, after, like, a year, you're, like, charging your friends. You're basically, like, I don't know about it.
But it all becomes yours, right? It's kind of the whole group's, sort of.
Yeah, but I mean, like, no, I mean, like, after a year or whatever, if you own the whole situation, and, like, this is what happened to me, right? After a year, I had a great friendship with Marisa, so I'd go over to her house for dinner all the time. I'd house sit for her all the time. And I still charged her $100 every month. And then Ellen charged her $100 every month. She came in every single day. I would house sit for her. We would go out to dinner all the time. Like, you become, like, really good friends with these people, and you're still charging them money. And you're like, at some point, you're like, I just feel so bad about charging you guys this money, and I feel like I'm not doing anything, but I am providing stuff for you. But it's just, like,
right.
This, like, internal, like, situation. Like,
But they also have a trust for you too, so
Yeah.
they trust that they can ask you to house sit for them.
Yeah. True.
You're like a lifeline for them, even though they're paying you $100 for a bunch of other stuff. They
Right.
also can trust you to house sit.
Right.
You're providing more than $100 of value for them, as well as an enjoyable space to work in.
Yeah.
That's reliable.
I would.
Which some would probably pay double that.
Yeah.
You know, if you increase the amount, they would probably be happy to pay $125 versus $100. You know,
if I just applied myself. Isaac told me that when I showed him all the earrings that I made like last February, but I made the earrings way before that. He was like, Becca, if you just applied yourself, you'd be so good. And I was like, I know. I don't.
But would you be happy though?
No. I'm on a non-applicable lifeline.
And would your body be happy?
No. I was thinking about it, and I was like, last night when I was driving home, I was like, why am I even fucking doing pottery? I should just fucking, be a data entry.
Drive him from the show?
Yes. I was, bitching so hard. I was like, I don't even know why I'm fucking doing this. I don't even have to do pottery. I'm going to live in a van. I could do, data entry, and I'd be fine. That's probably going to be my life anyway. The economy's going to fucking crash, and we're all just going to be like, okay.
I feel bad that I told you about that show now. I feel bad that I'm telling you about these shows and getting you into these shows, and then you're, not selling as well.
Where would I go? What other show would I be at? Nothing. Are you kidding me? I'm so
Well,
grateful
I mostly feel bad about the drive, that you have to drive 4 hours worth to do a show that it's just a shot in the dark.
It's okay. It's okay. I chose it. I would have chosen something different if I felt like it.
At least next week you will be in a warm hut.
I know. I am excited about that.
You should be looking forward to that.
I think that next week is actually going to be pretty good. I'm okay with it. I am okay with it. And next week on the 3rd, didn't plan this well, but I have my update as well for my fancy cups. So
your update.
My update. My festive update.
And it's just the cups.
Just the cups.
You already have the earrings that are made to order right now, or no?
Yeah, but nobody's ordering them. Maybe they will once they see that they're made to order on the website.
I think once you go mobile, maybe you'll have to do some Etsy stuff.
I am gonna do Etsy stuff once I go mobile.
I think you need some people that don't know you.
I agree. I wanted to do it earlier. I just never got around to it, and I want to do those fidget stones on Etsy. I think they'll do really well. And also on Fair, I think they do really well.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do posts like studs on Fair as well.
Mm-hmm. Did you say you got an order from Fair?
I got 2.
For what forms?
Spoon rests. I took all the other forms off, actually.
How many spoon rests did you have in that order?
One of them I had 16 and one I have 12. So.
That's a good number.
Yeah.
That's totally manageable.
Yeah. I just did I think you should get on Fair. I think that spoon rest would go really well for you on Fair. If you just put spoon rests up there, that's it. You know?
Would you do it ready to ship though? What would you?
No,
how would I do?
You put a date out. I have 30 days.
Are they? Because mine have different textures and whatnot. I mean, I think that would be okay.
You could do this is what I would do because
I don't want to do different individual textures. Buy them different textures, different colors. I would just hopefully it would be fine that they would be flexible. That they're different.
Well, you just listen.
Go ahead.
Okay, you would do a white one. Your most popular in just a regular spiral, and then you would do an artist choice pack of 4, and then it could be whatever,
Pack of 4, 4 different colors.
Yeah, or just artist choice, and they order 15 or 4 of them or 10 of them or whatever, and then you send whatever, and then you just show your selection and show that they go well together and all that stuff. That's what I'm gonna do for the texture stones the fidget stones, I'm just gonna do an artist choice, where you don't get to choose the colors.
Yeah.
Like, like it would
I'd name mine on Etsy. I call those surprise me.
surprise me. Yeah, like so yeah, it's like it surprised me because like especially with those, like they're gonna go on a counter in a bowl. Like
The only person that's going to see them in relation to each other is the person when they get 15 of them.
right.
When the shop gets 15 of them, they're going to be like, this doesn't look just like this. So it depends on the personality. Ideally, they would not give a shit.
Yeah,
And they'd be like, they're unique.
yeah, and like you make sure you put like red, yellow, green, blue, purple, like boom, and black.
Mm-hmm.
Like it goes in
Yeah.
your pocket. Nobody sees it. Like it's fine.
Right.
So that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna do the fidget stones on Etsy too, and I think they'll do really well.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. It's going to be slow moving, but
Yeah,
I think once you get a lot of people buying it, that really snowballs.
yeah,
I mean, right now it's easy because I'm doing the sale, so it's 20% off.
Yeah.
Like I never do a 20% off, so the shot glasses are flying, which
Right.
is fine. I mean, I'm only making $7.20
yeah,
before fees and stuff, but
yeah,
um,
yeah. I'm really like thinking about. I really think that once I've been like going back and forth from when I get off, when I move into the van, whether it's gonna be, whether it's gonna be only fancy cups and earrings, or only fancy cups, earrings, and regular thumb cups. You know, like,
what you're able to ship.
or just what I'm able to make. You know, because
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how long I don't know when I'll be in Indiana. Like when I'm in Indiana, making regular thumb cups is fine, but I'll have all of the glazes for doing the fancy cups with me
Mm-hmm.
because they're all underglazes and stroking coats, and that's easy to
What
transport.
And how many fancy cups can you fit in that small kiln?
4.
4.
But
okay.
if I'm at places that
bisque?
have kilns, like
Right.
I'm at your house, or if I'm at, even in Colorado, I can find places like I could.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, ideally, you just be able to crank out work and be able to biscuit somewhere.
Somewhere, exactly.
So whether you're making it on the road,
Right,
and then you show up somewhere and you do a rent a kiln or whatever,
exactly.
you fire it for a bisque, and then you carry around bisqueware.
And then
ideally,
just-
you're not gonna pile it
Yeah,
up, but
and then just fire it in the baby kiln when I, 4 at a time.
yeah, I'm wondering your glazing. I mean, your fancy cup's not a big deal because you got 1 or 2 liners, but
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like the thumb
your
cups,
glazing of your thumb cups is
right?
gonna be tougher.
Like that'll only be able to happen in Indiana. So, or unless I'm like using somebody else's glazes. So I'm thinking that it's got to be just fancy cups.
What if you did use somebody else's glazes?
I guess it could.
What if you made it like? I don't know if you go the test route. You probably wouldn't go the test route. Your
This is the
personality is
Tennessee
not the test route.
special. Like,
Yeah, this is the thumb cup times, with
Yeah.
Isaac's shoe, whatever,
Yeah. like I figure I'll have my white glaze and I'll put it into a 3-gallon bucket with a lid, and then I can line my stuff with it, maybe white and black. And Lloyd's in the laundry
Yeah.
basket again, and Babs is trying to get him.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want to carry around more than 2 different glazes.
Right, it
which
just
I
doesn't
mean,
make
plus
any
you're going to have all of
sense.
your underglazes too.
Right. I could line them with stroking coats, though. I could do a gallon of stroking coats, but that seems like a waste of money. But yeah.
Yeah, I would think you'd want to pile up the bisqueware, but also you only have so much space to put bisqueware. So,
Right. I know it's a
and
very
then what do? Do you stock up bisqueware and then you just store it in Indiana? Whenever you get back to Indiana, you just drop all the bisqueware off,
right. I don't know.
and then you just have it sitting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Spoon rests. I don't know if you do spoon rest, but
See, I'm thinking like I'm gonna have to drop spoon rest.
because then you're gonna have to close the fair. You're gonna have to limit what's on Etsy.
Well, I'll put other stuff on fair, so I'll put like Sorry.
Earrings and fidget
Sorry.
stones.
My cats are in the closet. Well, they're gone now. Earrings and fidget stones, and like change the stuff. But yeah, it's very like strategically. It's an interesting.
Well, the cool thing about the kiln is you're gonna fire it off the battery power source, right? So it's basically no cost.
We'll see. I have to see how much the kiln runs. So.
Ooh, that's a good point. You don't even know if it would run on that.
Right. So I don't even know what I got because I got the
mystery.
So
hopefully you got the
here's a fun
strong.
van update for everybody who's been kind of following along, even though I haven't said anything. Nothing's happened on the van except for I put a curtain up. Like, I'm not planning on doing anything into the van until probably February. But in order to live in it, I need some sort of a power source. So I got a portable power station, and I've been looking at, since it was Black Friday, it was perfect timing. So I've been looking at a lot of different power stations, and the one that I wanted to get was like $1,200 or $1,100 with a solar panel. And then I found this one website, and it had mystery power, like mystery boxes, essentially. And out of a whim and a lot of planning, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out because we were trying to figure out exactly what options you would have.
Yeah, because it looks like in the description, it looked like it was telling you exactly what they were going to give you. And I even looked up like a YouTube video. So I got a mystery box of this power source because it's like twice the amount. Regardless, it's twice the amount than what I was gonna get.
Twice the amount of like power source
than what I was gonna get for the same amount of money. It was $999, and then I went on Amazon and bought a portable solar panel for $150. So, and then I also I don't know if I told you this, but I also got a refrigerator on Black Friday.
I saw you posted a story about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that was pretty much what you were looking for from what you were telling me.
Yeah, I mean, like I felt like the necessities was to get a power station, a portable solar panel, and a refrigerator, because I'm gonna need those. I'm gonna need those regardless. I'm gonna use the refrigerator regardless when I do the van build. So getting it now versus later doesn't matter. And it has a freezer and refrigerator capability. So, I got one essentially half off. It was like $350 as opposed to $700. So,
right.
Yeah. Which those refrigerators, they have like one called Dometic. It's $1,500 for that fridge. Because it's a 12-volt fridge, so it's like low voltage.
Well, I mean, it's crazy because that's as much as you could pay. That's more than a regular fridge, like a full-size fridge. But they have to compact all of that energy
the same size
and
as
technology.
Right.
Yeah. It's because all the technology is so compact.
Yeah. So I was like, I have this problem with the fact that I go back and forth with my friend Brandon, and we're like, well, this one has good reviews, and this one has bad reviews on the company, and this one has the reviews. And I'm like a huge researcher, and I've decided that I need to stop. It is like an addiction that needs to stop. Like, I'm just going to fucking buy the ones that look okay. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. but I need to stop looking at reviews, because it's like going through Netflix trying to figure out what to watch. It will take 10 years for you to figure out.
And then how much of those reviews are you looking at that, like, how authentic are all of them? Because
you don't even know.
Are how many of these are...
Yeah. I think the most important thing is, does it have 4 out of 5 stars? Good enough for me. Like,
yeah.
So,
but some of those that get to the top of Amazon's list is because they know that the number of reviews has a big factor, and they could be incentivizing people to give high reviews and leave a rating, and there's a reason that it's higher.
And it's like
you don't know why.
These people are like, the customer service was terrible. Well, how many times do you really talk to customer service? Like, it's a very rare chance that you usually talk to customer service, if it's even a good rated item,
Right.
So, yeah.
And could that person have just been the lady sitting next to you at the bar?
Exactly. I have digestive issues. Yeah. So, But I'm excited. So 3 things off of my list of things to buy. They came at perfect timing. Spent probably $1,500 on Black Friday, which was not ideal, but that's okay.
That's where you're making good sales the last month or so.
Yeah. I've changed my goal to 5,000.
From 10,000 to 5,000?
Yes, with the last 2 shows, I don't think I can get to 10,000, which I'm okay with. 5,000 seems respectable.
I was wondering if there's other ways that Becca can get some money. Mystery boxes?
I could do some mystery boxes.
Could you get 1,000 or 2,000 on mystery boxes?
No. I need to collect this week, I'm going to clear off my kitchen table and start putting all of the pots that I don't want onto that kitchen table. And start giving them away. $10 shipping. You get either, I don't know if I'm going to do mystery or if you first.
You're back on the mystery thing, huh?
I know. I think that I'll probably do the first person that says $10 shipping, and then you can donate however much you want to the van fund. That'll be the shtick.
The shtick.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know that gift certificates this time of year would be.
Dude, I'm never doing gift certificates ever again in my entire life.
I don't know that would be your vibe. You're like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing next.
No, I'm not doing gift cards ever again in my whole life. No. Fuck gift cards.
Pre-order update?
Pre-order update? I doubt it. I don't think so. I don't know. I have like a...
On the road update?
On the road. I just know that these earrings will pop off when they pop off. Like, I know that it's such a good product, you know? Mm-hmm. And everybody is like, I've never seen anything like this. I'm like, that's because nobody's making things like this right now.
Yeah.
You know?
I think you just need some bread and butter things to coast while the earrings gain momentum.
Yeah, and I need to do better.
Maybe the consultations are that. Maybe the fancy cups are that.
Yeah. I'd love to
fancy cups are
I'd love to make
harder,
the fancy cups like...
But...
I mean, I love making
the clientele for that is narrower, but if you have the demand for it, then I mean, shit. My mom's got like 4 of those fucking things. I got over there and I was like, "What?
I know.
You got like 4 of these cups? 5 of these cups?"
Well, I can't tell her no. You know, I'm like, Deidre, you have too many. Like, you don't need these. Deidre, I love you.
You need to gift. Rachel wants to get one. I don't know what kind she wants to get, though. We got that one that you gave me at the show, the coffee show, and Rachel saw it and she was like, "What is that? Did you get?" I was like, "Oh, Becca gave it to me."
It matches your chair. Your blue chair.
It's yellow and pink, though.
I thought it was yellow and blue.
You gave me the yellow and pink one.
Oh.
It's on our tiki shelf over there.
Okay.
But she wants to get one of the fancy ones with the gradient and stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll have to figure out which one. Looks good.
Yeah.
What a short episode this was today.
2 hours in. Yeah, we had a bitch session at the front and at the back. Like, you can tell when we haven't talked for a while.
Yeah. I mean, we just saw each other like 3 days ago.
Yeah, but we didn't talk.
Yeah. I was like, should we record with Deej or something? Like, do we have to get an episode recorded?
Yeah.
And then I was like, that would be weird because then you're already like together for a while and then you're like, okay, let's go upstairs and record.
I think it would have been funner if we had...
Does it feel natural?
Yeah, it would have been funner if we just like set up the computer and just played cards or something and just talked, you know?
That could have worked.
Yeah.
Maybe.
With your mom's stories, it would have been great.
Classic.
Yeah.
Someday. All right. Anything else? We're a little over 2 hours here.
No. 12 p.m. on the nose.
12 a.m.
12 a.m.
On the nose.
That's what I meant.
All right. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
I do have something really quick. If you guys notice anything in the microphone, like it drops off or anything like that, please let us know, because I did drop this microphone on the floor. And so we're trying to figure out if it does have any issues.
I think it goes in and out, but we don't know if it's the microphone or if it's because Becca is moving her head or anything like that.
Yeah.
We've tried to narrow in that, hey, Becca, make sure you're not covering your mouth or talking to the wall.
But Ryan does listen to him, but, sometimes he doesn't hear it, and I don't, so I listen in the beginning and the end. But, just let us know. We do know that it happened like a couple episodes ago, but we don't know if I had moved my head or not, so cool. Anyway.
Yeah. All right.
Sweet.
Goodbye.
Bye. Yo, higgity yo. It's Becca here. Hey, just so you know, thank you for listening. And also, we have... What do we have again? A Patreon. We have a Patreon that you should go, and if you want to donate to, you could donate to it. If you don't, that's cool too. But just Google Wheel Talk Podcast Patreon. Don't do the other one, because there is a Wheel Talk on Patreon, but it's not us. So make sure you get the right one. It's in the show notes. And also, leave us a review, because they're fun to read. Okay, bye!